Hey everybody, it's Dak here from the Ed Boys, and today's video is going to be a little bit of a deeper look into some of the Fossil Island content that came out just a few weeks ago, specifically the Volcanic Mine, the Herbiboar Hunter Method, and the Underwater Agility course. Let's start with the Volcanic Mine. The first week of the mine there was a couple of balancing issues, but there was a quick update on it the next Thursday that set up the Volcanic Mine to give the kind of XP rates that we originally expected. On release, there were also not a lot of players able to get to the mine right away since it does require 180 kudos to enter, but the player pool has definitely grown, and there's even a CC called Volcano Mine where a handful of players have been gathering to work in some of the mines, usually in worlds 302 to 304. You can take a decent amount of damage while you're in the mine, so I would make sure to bring some decent food. I personally use brews, but that's really because I'm lazy, I'm not going to lie. Monkfish or shark will do the job. You also do want to bring some sort of prayer potion restore since you will be praying inside. I've personally just been wearing my Prospector and my HP skill cape for some regen. I have like my Falador Shield 4 on me, that's really more fashionscape. You could also have a regen bracelet on. This would help for the healing side of things. To get inside the mine, you do have to pay 30 Nummulite. You're gonna get some Nummulite while you're in there, but likely less than 30. So overall, I'd either go buy some Nummulite in the GE or save up from your other Fossil Island activities. Inside the mine, I pray range and rapid heal. I believe the rapid heal is useless if you have both the HP cape and the regen bracelet. I just didn't have a regen bracelet on me. If you're with a team that knows what they're doing, then your job is likely just going to be to help mine the giant boulder. The goal of the whole mine is to get this boulder to the end of the channel by mining it down to a small rock. But if you have more than 10 people in the mine, you're going to have multiple boulders to deal with, and if you don't keep them kind of even and mine them at a similar pace, the mine is going to collapse. So I suggest just keeping your groups at 10 or below. I found 8 to 9 people was a pretty solid sweet spot, but 4 or 5 players could do this pretty well if you guys understand what you're doing. The other way that the mine could collapse while you're in there is if you let the gas levels get too unstable. There are 3 vents in the mine, and the further each vent gets away from 50%, then the more unstable the mine gets. If a vent is blocked, the percentage of gas builds up. If it's unblocked, it goes down. With less than 10 people, you only really need to watch 2 vents to keep the mine going. You just have to check the chambers at the beginning of the mine and 5-minute mark, because that's when they're all going to reset, so that you can see the percentages of each vent. Here's a map of the mine showing you the vents and the chambers. If you really want a more in-depth version of how you're supposed to run the vents and whatnot, Zulu already has a fantastic in-depth volcanic mine guide that could explain this a lot more if you're looking to actually run the mine, not just get a handful of tips on how to do it. I did leave a link to that video in the description. One last tip for those who don't really want to check the in-depth strategies, make sure you get the hell out of the mine at the end. You can make it out of the mine in 30 to 35 seconds if you're right at the end where you're mining the little rock, but that really depends if you're throwing your water correctly. If you don't build your path out of there quickly, you're not going to make it unless you gave yourself a little bit of extra time. So you just want to be careful. Clearly the longer you mine, the more XP you can get unless you guys finish the rock that you're working on. But if you die on the way out of the mine, you don't get the big XP drop at the end, and it's a huge waste of time and XP, so I would suggest being very careful. Overall, the Volcanic Mine is a great place for anybody looking for good XP rates, but that are not a big fan of tick manipulation methods. You won't really make any money here though, so I do not suggest it for those who are looking to make some cash on their way to 99. Next, let's jump into the Herbiboar Hunter method. If you've ever done any tracking method in the game, then this is really just the same thing, just on a little bit larger scale. Here's a look at the area that you can find the Herbiboar in. To begin tracking the Herbiboar, you just have to check one of these tracking spots, and you'll have a chance for some tracks to appear. These can include seaweed, stones, mushrooms, some mounds of dirt, and whatnot. They're fairly obvious, but I have highlighted a handful on the screen to give you an idea. Keep following the tracks to the next inspect spot until you find the Herbiboar. Then you just have to attack the spot and you'll gain some Hunter XP. And a little bit of Herbiboar XP, plus a few herbs. The Herbiboar XP is really minimal though. You'll hardly realize you're getting it. I do suggest having an herb stack on you while you do this so you don't have to bank your herbs very often. The XP rates here are kind of nice. I am only at 80 Hunters, you can see. So I get the minimal XP rates and it's still 65 to 70k an hour for me. The GP varies a lot more because it really depends on what herbs you're getting. You also have to keep in mind, I use a lot of stamina potions even though I am wearing Graceful so that I can keep running as fast as possible the whole time. But overall, I would say a couple 100k an hour is very doable, like 250 to 300k rate. It really can vary a lot though. Depends how lucky you get with your herbs. You also have a 1 in 6,500 chance every time you pick from the Herbiboar to get the Herby pet. Not everyone out there seems to mind about the pets, but it is a little bit of a bonus that you could get something rare while you are training here. Finally, let's move on to the underwater agility course. This course provides solid XP in both agility and thieving, and I'll give some more numbers on that in a minute. This agility course is just like the Brimhaven course. One of the claims or chests around the course will be active at a time. The first one that you get to, you won't be able to loot, but every one from there on after, you can spam click and try to steal some mermaid tears from them. You could also get fossils from this course, and if I'm not mistaken, a little bit of nummulite. The XP rates in here can be tough to get at first. There's 3 things that I would say you need to focus on if you want to steal from the most claims. First would be your air levels, obviously. If your oxygen gets to 0%, you're going to pass out and wake up on the shore by the dive boat, and it's also going to take some of your mermaid tears from you. When moving from chest to chest, if I'm ever below 50%, I like to hit up a nearby air bubble for 20 to 25% boost real quick. But this really could depend on what chest or clam that you're taking from. Some of them are super close to air bubbles, so you could push it a little bit further. Some of them are a little bit farther away from air bubbles, so maybe I spend a little bit less time on that chest and make sure that I have enough air. It really can depend, and it's something that you get a little bit more used to as you do it. The puffer fish around the course are very important, though. I would not go far out of your way to catch a puffer fish, but anytime that you see a close fish you can catch, I would suggest grabbing it, since you can instantly get 15% oxygen when you use them, which is a lot faster than sitting in an air bubble for 15%. Plus, you don't have to go to the air bubble, you could do it right in front of a chest. Overall, I suggest leaning on the side of caution with your air levels at first, and as you get a good feel for the course and you know where everything is, start to get a little riskier with it, push it a little bit more, and see if you can grab from a few extra clams and push your XP rates even better. The next big factor in your rates would be using the holes well. These holes can transfer you around the course pretty quickly as long as you use the right ones. Sometimes the clam switches really only give you a vague idea of where the next one is because you just have an arrow pointing, or if you're far enough away in the course you don't even really get to see the arrow. So there's a little bit of a guess involved if you're using one of the holes. At the very least, though, it is going to reduce the amount of time you spend swimming around. You can skip very large sections of the map. Here is a map of the holes that connect each other. I believe these are all of them. These are all the ones that I have least noticed and used. It's possible that I've missed some, of course, so let me know if you guys know of any other helpful ones that I have not seen here. The last thing you need to pay attention to in the course would be the currents. You can get caught in one of these currents, which will slow you down a little bit if you're heading towards another chest. Sometimes you can power through them without a problem, honestly, but if you do get caught in them going the wrong way, it's going to slow you down a bit and be remotely frustrating, I'm not going to lie to you. You can use them to your advantage, though. If you swim with the currents, it'll actually push you towards the chest a little bit faster. Sometimes it can be hard to see which way the currents are moving just by staring at your screen because they are kind of subtle, I'm not going to lie. But here's a map that was given to us in the developer's blog that shows the direction of the currents. If you're quick with the course, you can manage 30k agility XP an hour and around 135k thieving XP an hour. At least that's what I was getting. I have seen some screenshots showing other people managing some better rates, but we'll stick to these numbers for now because that's what I was grabbing. For my normal agility, I really do expect to get up to 57k XP an hour at the Arty course, and then I pickpocket Arty Knights for my thieving, which I tend to max out around 200k XP an hour. This means that I do get a little bit over 30 minutes worth of training in each skill for every hour that I do the underwater course. So basically, when I spend an hour at the underwater agility course, I get a little bit more than 30 minutes of thieving done and a little bit more than 30 minutes of agility done. So it is a little bit better to combine these things through the underwater course if you plan on using the methods that I use, of course. I've been throwing some numbers on the screen to hopefully kind of prove this point. There are other methods of agility and thieving out there, so this would be a little bit different for each example. But it is an idea that this could potentially save you some time on the way to 99 depending how you do it. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do it because I don't know if I'm huge on this course. I think I like normal, just the Arty course in terms of agility and the very simple idea of spam clicking an Arty Knight for thieving. But it could save me a few hours to 99, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm thinking about this underwater agility course. But overall, I think it is fantastic. That's going to wrap up this video, everybody. I really hope you got some useful information about these 3 Fossil Island topics. If you have any other questions or any hints about these of your own, be sure to leave those in the comments section below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and best of luck with your future grinds.